And in this lecture, we will go ahead and create an individual post page. That means whenever the user clicks on one of these buttons over here, he should be redirected to a new page, which is going to have a bunch of text and detail, and it's going to have some sort of image. So if you want to have a look at the kind of page we are creating, I'll just show you guys what exactly I'm talking about. So let me just open up the sample page which I have just created. So let me just open that thing up, and this is what I'm talking about. So we want to create a page which looks something like this. It's going to have a navigation menu on the left. It's going to also have a collapsible navigation on the top, and it's going to have this sort of layout. And when we try to shrink this thing over here, this is what it's going to look like on a mobile phone. So let's see how exactly can we make that. So I'll just go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. And here what we need to do is that we need to create a completely new HTML page. So just click on this icon over here to create a new file. Let's say we name this thing as post.html. So once we have this HTML file, what we do is that we copy a bunch of code in this file from here, because most of the elements are going to be the same. So I will copy everything till the body over here, and I'll just paste it over here so that we now have all the elements imported. So make sure to end the body tag over here, and now we are good to go. So the first and foremost thing which we need to do is that we need to create a container. So div class is going to be container. Let's end the container over here, and the first thing which we need to do is that we need to add a nav over here. So for the nav as well, you can actually copy the entire nav from here. So we'll also do that. I'll just copy the nav, paste it over here, and we should be good. So now let me open up the page so as to show you guys how exactly it's going to look like. So as you can see, this is what the page looks like right now. And now we need to add a separate nav over here for the page navigation or for navigating the news. And on the right hand side, we need to display the actual post. So let's see how we can design that sort of a layout. So in order to design that sort of a layout, first of all, you need to create a row, and you need to split that row into two different column sections. The first column section is going to be for the nav, and the next column section is going to be for the post. So let's say you want to split it in a 1:3 ratio. That means the leftmost column is going to span 3 columns, and the rightmost column section is going to span the remaining 9. So if you have a look over here, this is 1:3 ratio. This spans 3 columns and this spans 9 columns. So in order to have that kind of layout, we go inside our code for the post.html. This thing right here is our container. This is where the nav ends. So right over here, I'll create a row. So that's going to be div class row. And within this row, we will create 2 column sections. The first one is going to be call-md-3, which means it spans 3 columns, and another one which is div class equals call-md-9, which spans 9 columns. So once we have this thing, we are pretty much good to go. Now in the first column over here, we want to create a nav for the menu items. So you can use an unordered list over here so as to display the different links which point to different news. So I can use UL for unordered list. Just make sure that you have a class of nav to this, and as you want to display it vertically, that is, this should be a vertical nav instead of a horizontal, you just need to make sure that you add a flex-column class over here. So once you do that, you're pretty much good to go. Just make sure to end the UL tag over here, and now you can create list items which have a class as nav item. So these are the individual links which we will be creating. And again, for the links, you will need a class over here, and the class for this is going to be nav-link. It's going to have an href, which is going to be hash, and here you will have some sort of catchy news title, like let's say new laptop in town, and you can just go ahead and end this over here. So this is one of the list item. You can just copy the same list item over here, paste it multiple times, and you can have a different heading for each one of them. So let's say this is going to be new car in town, and let's say we have something like XYZ launches a new phone. So let's see these individual news links. And now if we go back to our actual page and hit refresh, as you can see, we have that navigation over here. So if you keep on adding links over here, that's going to appear right below over here. And now we need to design the rightmost section, which is these 9 columns. So in order to do that, let's go inside this column div, this 9 column div over here. And the first thing which you need to do is that you need to create a row inside it, because obviously if you have a look at this thing, this is splitted into multiple rows. So this image belongs to one row, this title belongs to one row, and this paragraph belongs to other row. So in order to create such kind of layout, we create a div class of row over here and this thing over here, and again you need to create a class over here for columns. So this is kind of the nesting of rows and columns which we have studied. So this is going to be div class equals column dash md dash 12, as we want the image to span the entire thing. And now you can add an image over here using the image tag. So the image, make sure that the class of this is going to be image fluid so as to make it responsive. Let's add the source for this image as well. So I'll just pick any random image which I want with a decent width. So make sure that whatever image you're choosing has decent amount of width to cover the entire web page. So I'll just paste it right over here and we are now good to go. Just let me make sure that I've aligned everything properly. And now our image should appear on our web page. So let me just go ahead and check that. So if I hit refresh, as you can see, we now have an image. So now I just need to add a title over here. So I'll just hop back, and right after this row, which ends here, I'll create another row. So this is going to be div class equals row. In the row over here, I will again create a column inside here. So div class equals column md12 and the div over here, and I'll create another row with a column inside it for the paragraph as well. So I'll just copy and paste it over here. So now this is going to hold our heading. So this thing can actually have another piece of content, but let's say if you don't want so many rows inside this single page, so you can also skip creating this row. Instead, you can add all the content in a single row as well. So what I mean by that is that you can accommodate everything inside this single row and column layout, which means right below the image, you can directly go ahead and add your heading as well. So you can do it either way. You can also go ahead, create multiple rows inside here, or if you don't want to make it much complex, you can simply go ahead, create a class for h3 over here and simply add a heading. So let's do that for now. Let's add a heading like drinking coffee can boost your productivity. Pardon me if I have any typos over here. And we just now need to add a simple paragraph over here. And let's say I copy some dummy text from somewhere and I paste it multiple number of times. Okay, so now we are pretty much done. So let's hop back to our site, hit refresh, and let's see how this thing looks like. Okay, so as you could see, this is how the website looks like. I don't have much text over here because I need to copy and paste it multiple number of times to make it look like a paragraph. But let's see if the site is responsive. So if I try to shrink this thing, it shrinks, and at this point we have this collapsible menu. If I shrink it to a size of a phone, as you can see, the image and the text is also responsive and it looks pretty neat and clean. And also we have this nav along with the collapsible nav as well. That means we have successfully created a responsive page for displaying a single news post as well. So that's it for this lecture, and in the next lecture we will go ahead and try to add a contact form to this particular website. We will either add it to this particular page or our main home page. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.